What's going on, everyone? In today's video, we have to cover a monster $21 million trade that happened in the market today. We also have to cover some big news related to inflation and why tomorrow will be so crucial for the market. I have a very good feeling that the rest of this week will be one of the best 3-day stretches than we've seen in a long time. On top of all of that, we have a crucial rate decision. And while all this is happening, the stock market made a brand new yearly high today, and some stocks like Nvidia did especially well, and Nvidia actually closed above the $1 trillion market cap valuation for the first time ever.
Yes, it did. And that's actually fantastic news for them. If we actually go to that daily chart, Mike, they are just continuing to show why they are very dominant. To make it look even a little bit better here, go to an hourly chart so you can see all those intraday and post-market moves. Man, that is awesome to see. They're about to break that recent high. If they get up above 420 over the next couple days, I heard that was Elon Musk's favorite number. But man, I heard that there was some awesome news for tomorrow. Obviously, we've all been waiting for it as the week went on. So we're all waiting for Powell to speak and the big FOMC interest rate decision. We're going to have a lot of takes on that as the video goes. So please stick with us today. We have a lot of fun things to talk about. But firstly, Mike, I think I want to hit on the inflation data from this morning because it really helped us start off on the right foot, and it helped a lot of these tech stocks start to really rip to the upside. So we came in at 4%. We were actually expecting 4.1. The forecast was 4.3%. I really saw everybody expecting 4.1%. To see us come in lower than that, Mike, is awesome. And if we actually go to the inflation chart, you can see how it's showing a very steep drop off there. And that is really, really good. And this actually pushed the kind of like the swaying towards a pause of these rate hikes that the Feds have been doing. We can see there's now a 91.9% chance of a pause, and that'll be keeping their benchmark rate at 500 to 525 basis points. So it's going to be crazy tomorrow, Mike. Powell's going to be speaking, and this news with the inflation definitely is going to influence what he talks about. So I cannot wait to see what he says. It's going to be one of the most interesting days in the whole entire stock market. And that inflation data this morning was really good to see that it was lower than that expectation.
Yeah, and head right back over to that chart. It looks like after about 3 years, Tom, Powell's starting to get a little bit right. Inflation is being somewhat transitory now, finally, after like 3 years. It's awesome to see that inflation is now at 4%. It's still too high, so the job's not completely done yet, but I'll tell you, it's a good sign, especially compared to like 4.1%, which was right around this time last year. So let's go. That's good to see. We're definitely making improvement on that side of things. And, just to reiterate what you were saying about the rate decision tomorrow, basically the Federal Reserve has been increasing interest rates like 10 times in a row. They basically took interest rates from 0 all the way up to like 5%, right? They shut the money printer off, and now they're finally like just stopping the rate hikes, if that makes sense. And if we go back to the market pricing, we can see that there's about a 92% chance that there will be no rate hike tomorrow. That's a good thing. But the problem is if Jerome Powell's not feeling nice tomorrow and he does do a rate hike, the markets will not like that at all. So you just have to keep that in the back of your mind. Powell still has the power to really, what's the opposite of the money printer for this situation?
Yeah, I guess you'd say like he could suck all the money dry. That's really the big thing there. He'll really like get into there, steal all the money from the coffins. And man, it's going to be crazy if we start to see him, obviously not do that pause. I really think that they're going to go with the pause, though. If we go back to that, 92% chance. We were talking about this the past couple weeks, and this number was 50%. Then it jumped up to 70%ish. Now it ran all the way up to 91.9%. I really think that inflation rate coming in at 4% was like the nail in the coffin for the pause tomorrow. So I'm really expecting a pause. I'm hoping the market likes a pause as well. And I'm really thinking that they will. Now, one worry that I have, Mike, is that we're obviously getting inflation to fall, right? Inflation's been going down a lot over the past year. And this has been happening because they've been essentially making the economy worse pushing us closer into that recession. If Powell says something about, maybe we're going to still have this mild recession, maybe it's going to be worse than we thought or something, that could also be something to, keep in the back of your mind.
All right, good stuff and good point there for sure. Another thing I want to touch on, considering that the market has been booming lately, is Apple actually had a pretty big shift today when it comes to analysts. Now, I'm not saying to always believe what analysts say because sometimes they are so wrong, it's like, it's almost laughable. But anyways, there was some interesting news today on how Apple got downgraded. And basically right now, we are seeing the lowest percentage of analyst buy recommendations on Apple since 2020. If we look closer at the chart right there, you'll see a white line and it has just been tanking lately. And that all that basically means is that analysts are not really too bullish on Apple. And like I said, it's the lowest point since 2020. So keep that in mind as just something to, have in the, I guess you could say, just keep on your watch list. Looking at Apple, I don't necessarily blame these analysts too much considering how much it's up. And, when you have a stock like Apple make brand new all-time highs in this type of economy, I can see how people are skeptical.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that Apple is one of those stocks that in the short term, if the overall market rallies tomorrow off of Powell, it might keep going up in the short term. But the question is where are we going to finally stop? Is it going to be around $200, maybe 190, 195? It's going to be a tough guess, obviously, as we start to go. But man, it's going to be a very interesting next couple days. And I just cannot believe all those downgrades that came in on Apple. And all those price adjustments like that. So definitely not good there, but I'm kind of with the analysts. I think that we've been beating on this for a while, Mike, but these stocks are so overextended right now. Even like Nvidia, they just keep going up with great news and it's awesome to see, but man, they are getting so high right now. They're about to break their all-time high too.
Exactly. And, a lot of people are saying it's just a matter of time before they pull back. And speaking of pullbacks, there's basically nothing pulling back as strong as egg prices, believe it or not. So in the beginning of the year, egg prices were exploding. I know there were a bunch of memes and we talked about this a ton, but they were up like 70% at one point. And egg prices are actually dropping quicker right now than they have in 72 years. So I guess that's one little bit of good news, Tom, as these prices and some other prices in the grocery store start to come down. I guess you could say it gives a little bit of relief to consumers.
Yeah, it really does. That was part of the CPI today, and that's really good to see that that's coming down like that. Hopefully, a lot of other parts of that are coming down too. You can see there's lots of stuff here like bacon related products. Hot dogs are down 2.6%. Butter's down 6%. That's a pretty big drop for butter there. So pretty cool to see those numbers like that. Obviously, it's good to see those eggs falling. And man, I will say that it's weird that people keep saying that we're going into like a recession because I don't know, Mike. I don't know about you, but I feel like things are getting a little bit better right now. Maybe we'll have to see what Powell says. Maybe he'll take recession off the table when he talks.
See, it's all about if the Fed and Jerome Powell can land this, I don't want to say disaster of a plane right now, but everyone's just been talking about the potential of a soft landing over the past couple of years. And it's right now it looks like there's a decent chance of that happening, but there are still so many variables. We do have multiple Fed officials still warning for a recession. And the thing to keep in mind is that every single recession is unique. When a lot of people think of recession, they think of 2009 or the dot-com bubble or something like that. But it's not all recessions are like that. And it's keep in mind, we technically did have a recession in 2020. To some people, it didn't feel like it, but, it's worth noting that every single recession is unique.
Yeah, exactly. And some people say that we were just in a recession. What was it? 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. And then obviously, people are changing the the definitions and stuff like that. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about that. Do you guys think that we're going to have a recession later this year or not? I know it's a touchy subject. I'm sure there's a lot of awesome opinions out there. So let us know in the comments. That'll be a pretty fun one to spark up some cool conversations about. But yeah, I'm looking at some of these things like TNX, Mike, follows the 10-year yield. And I'm just sitting here watching it on the daily, like watching it rip up, and I'm just like, man, can this ever start to fall back down a little bit more?
No, not at least for some years. Okay, it's like, as we all know, the TNX refers to interest rates, and it's like, since 2020, it was basically the land of free money, and Jerome Powell turned on his money printer like we've never seen before. But it's like at this point, it's like the money printer can't be turned on for a while. Maybe we'll call what we were talking about earlier, the money vacuum, right? How Powell's kind of trying to like undo some of this crazy infinite money economics. But either way, it's definitely an interesting situation. And one other thing I want to talk about that's more stock specific was I saw Beyond Meat have an amazing day today as they just soared to the upside by like 13%. And they actually had some interesting news on how they released their newest iteration of Beyond Sausage, the number one selling plant-based sausage at over 15,000 retail outlets nationwide. So they were pretty excited to announce this as they claim the Beyond Sausage delivers an even juicier, more flavorful experience in meatier texture with 40% less saturated fat than any leading pork sausage. So either way, I'm not saying I'd eat it, but hey, I guess you could say it's good news for them.
Yeah, hey, I'll take it for the stock, but man, I'll be honest, Mike. I think you'd have to catch me dead before I eat some Beyond Sausage. Now, I might try it or something, but I don't know. I'm not quite there yet. Maybe in a couple of years, I'll give it a try whenever they start bringing some more stuff out. But hey, look at that stock, 12% today. That was definitely a big mover, and even last week they had a pretty big pop as well. So that's going to be a fun one to watch for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. And actually, our bots crushed it with this one today. If we look in the Discord, we can see our bot called out the Beyond $13.50 strike call option at 91 cents each. And by the end of the day, this thing hit highs of $160 each. So that's awesome to see. This option just rocketed, like I said, $90 or $91 all the way up to $160. If you're looking for an awesome program for options, short-term trading, check out that first link in the description in the comments down below. You get access to our bots, but even more importantly, a bunch of other great tools that you will not find anywhere else, like a channel that directly shows you exactly what hedge funds are trading each and every day, plus very great screeners in the SM bot tab. Basically, it shows you the options that are moving the most for every single minute of the market day. On top of that, you get a bunch of other great swing trades and awesome tools that you won't find anywhere else. It is the program if you're in short-term options trading. It'll be that first link in the description and the comments down below. But Tom, it's also worth noting that we had some pretty decent news today with one of the big tech powerhouses, AMD. Now, this news was, in many people's eyes, optimistic, but the stock didn't love it.
Yeah, exactly. Their stock really fell down today, 3.6%, especially compared to their counterpart, Nvidia, which blasted up their competitors. I wonder if maybe this is bad news for them because now they're directly competing with Nvidia a little bit more. I know they already did in the GPU market, obviously, with other things like that, but it looks like they're actually revealing a new AI chip coming out here. They're going to call this the MI300X. It's actually sounding pretty interesting here, and it's going to directly challenge NVIDIA's H100 processors. Now, if we read this closely here, this is nuts. These H100 processors could cost $30,000 or more, depending on which ones that you get. And what I also found interesting is that the AMD version can actually hold a bunch more memory, and it sounds like it does a few things that the NVIDIA ones might not be able to do. So keep that in mind. It definitely sounds interesting for AMD, and it could maybe spark something over the next couple weeks. And especially once that thing starts to launch towards the end of the year, that might drive in a lot more hype.
Good stuff. And it's also worth noting that We're in kind of like an AI like mania right now. There are always like certain groups of the market that just pop up more than others. Like in 2020, there was a bunch of hype with like electric vehicles and EV charging stocks. Of course, there's also that SPAC bubble as well. And then like, there are also other notable bubbles throughout history, like the dot-com bubble, where anything to do with technology popped up. You could say like the marijuana bubble a couple years ago, where a bunch of marijuana stocks popped up. And we just go through like, giant cycles every now and then. Right now, we're in like AI cycle where like basically anything to do with artificial intelligence is rocketing to the upside. One of the top artificial intelligence stocks lately is ticker symbol AI. C3 AI popped up by like 15% today. They didn't really have any like crazy groundbreaking news that I saw, but it just goes to show you have to watch these AI stocks every single day. They are moving like none other, and ticker symbol AI actually made a new recent high today, and the stock's just booming.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's getting up there. I cannot believe how much it's up. 14.65%. It blasted above that $39 to $40 resistance like it was nothing today. Made for some great intraday plays. And, you have to find those sectors that are hot, like you mentioned, Mike, and these AI sectors are hot. So keep them on the radar for the next couple days. They are definitely going to be some of the better stocks to trade.
Awesome. Well, Tom, it's now time for some setups for tomorrow. One stock I'm watching very closely is Upwork, UPWK. This stock was moving pretty well back when the money printer was printing all day long in 2020 and 2021. But since that point, the stock has gotten destroyed. But it actually had a pretty solid day today as it's up 8%. And I really like the risk-reward ratio on this one. What you'll see with many big tech stocks right now is, just the stock at its all-time high, or at least somewhat close to it. With this setup, it's much closer to lows. So if we look at UPWK, we can see right now it's trading for like $9.33. A recent low and support levels at like $8. And then some recent highs you can say are at like 12. So I really like where it's like you can get in for like around $9.30. You might take a stop loss at $8, but if it, and that's if it doesn't work. But if it does work, you might take profits at $12 or 14, or if you want to get a little bit greedy, maybe even like 18 to 20.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these are some really good levels up here. And I would think that if we even get just a little bit of a recovery, this stock could very well come up and touch something like that. I love it, Mike. It's looking pretty good on this recovery. And I love that breakout today above 9 and even that recent resistance above 930. I'm loving Upwork and a lot of these lower price stocks that are starting to move back up. Now, one that I'm going to talk about is CCL. If we go out to a daily on CCL, they were lower priced a couple weeks ago, but right now, man, they are just running up with some momentum like a rocket ship. I mean, this thing is up 4.2% again after it just blasted yesterday. I'm still going to keep it on the radar. Why not continue to watch this one? It's been straight to the upside. And yeah, we even seen a lot of crazy moves to the upside and some of these big money plays on CCL. Look at these expiring in 2024, like these 5-strike calls. Man, these things must be up a ton right now, Mike. They got into these on January 6th of 2023. If we go out to January 6th, I mean, man, Mike, I mean, I don't know if they could have gotten much closer to the low. I mean, that is almost as close as you can get right off support. So watch these big money plays. We have a cool one tonight. It's going to be a big one when we start talking about it. But yeah, CCL tomorrow, a lot of momentum.
Perfect. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is Beyond Meat, BYND. We already touched on this one a little bit, but the stock's booming. They have some decent news with their Beyond Sausage, and this stock is also pretty close to lows, and it's one of those meme stocks, so it's like when the volume flows in, it normally ends up running pretty hard. So I'm going to be watching it pretty closely to the upside over the next couple days.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever this one goes, it goes. Another 12% move today, following that move from last week with some news. I would definitely think that there's a good chance of a continuation. So I like that one as well. I will say, Mike, I'm not sure you're going to like my play here too much. I'm going to go with Tesla. It's a little bit overextended, but what I have to say is that I talked about this one yesterday above 250. it played above that very, very well today. Even if you would have used that as a support here after market open, possible entry there for a bounce, got a nice move right back to the upside. So I'll be watching it for another move above 260 tomorrow. I'm loving this breakout here. If we go to a daily chart, it's really blasting up, and it's actually kind of heading up towards a big trend line there. So I'll be watching it. I think tomorrow, maybe a breakout, maybe target 265. Don't go crazy on it. It's already up a lot. Don't expect it to go up another 5%. Just play a nice 2 to 3% move.
Sounds good. Well, Tom, it's now time for the momentum plays. With the first one, we have Intel to the upside.
INTC, a lot of momentum on this one lately. Go ahead and make them break out above $34. They're about to break that in after hours here. If they break that in pre-market, then go ahead and watch that high of day or high of this morning right around 34.30.
All right, with the next one, we have Affirm, AFRM, also to the upside.
Yeah, nice one. This one had another good day here. If they can break back above that $19.10 intraday resistance, go ahead and watch it for calls.
And with the last one, we have Amazon, and we need both directions on this one.
Yeah, Amazon's been a little bit rough lately. Like they've been flying up, but today that was a weird drop. There's a pretty good double bottom here right around 125.90. So if they break below that, watch for some puts to the downside. But if they're able to break above intraday resistance right around 127.30, then go ahead and look at those calls.
Sounds good. So we have that downside level on Amazon. If it breaks below that, we're watching it for puts. Then we have the upside level as well. If it breaks above that, we're watching it for calls. And then don't forget about Affirm and Intel. If they break above their resistance levels, we are also watching those ones for calls. But it is now time for the moment you have all been waiting for, and that is the big money trade of the day. We had $21.195 million go into Intel, and it was actually the Intel 27 strike call options that expire on October 20th of 2023. Intel has been performing pretty well lately. The stock's been definitely popping and making some bullish movement, even with some of these other chip stocks like AMD kind of slowing down. Basically, for those of you who don't trade options, when you have someone betting, in this case, over $21 million that Intel will rise, it is definitely something you want to pay attention to. The higher the stock goes, the more money they'll make. And, these call options are in the money, which just make you think even more that they are longing them.
Yeah, and we've been talking about Intel a lot down here while it's been low, guys. If you have not been grabbing shares yet, I still think it's at a fairly decent price. I'm not going to say I would go all into shares right here, of course, but for averaging in, I kind of like it still. Even for options, I think it's a very nice thing to maybe follow this or a couple more of these Intel trades. Like, look at this one out to July 21st with those 28 strike calls. We saw 15 million go into that one back on April 4th. If we actually go back here, they're getting right back up to that point now and actually breaking out here. So big resistance here at 34. I'm glad we're about to break it. And yeah, it's looking great on Intel. That's a lot of money, Mike. $21 million. Yeah, we've talked about Intel a lot. I love it to the upside.
Perfect. All right, Tom. Well, I am pretty excited for the next couple of days. We're set for some very important news with this rate decision tomorrow. Do you have any final thoughts heading into the rest of the week? It's going to be a big one.
Yeah, exactly. Just be prepared for Powell tomorrow. He can definitely change the market, guys. I mean, I cannot stress that enough. I know we talked about it a lot. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. There's going to be a lot of juicy answers about that one. So let me know. Other than that, hey, let the trading gods be with us tomorrow, Mike. That volatility is going to be crazy. And I would say this, if you are able to walk away green tomorrow with the volatility, take that as a really, really good day. So let's hope to finally get some good movement. We've been getting a lot of good movement lately. So I hope that honestly, the SPY just continues to break out. If Powell sends us down, that's going to put a big sad face on this uptrend here.
2 p.m. Eastern time is the time to show up. That is when the interest rate decision is. And then 30 minutes after that at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time is when Powell actually speaks. So be ready. There should be a lot of opportunity. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. When you subscribe, you'll see our videos recommended to you more often. And last but not least, we want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Gengar Phantom in the StockedUp Discord. You're slowly coming up on 1 year in the chat, and you're still active to this day. So huge shout out to you. Thank you so much for the support. But besides that, guys, let's have an amazing week.